Welcome everyone, this is Garrett Green Gaming, and today I want to give you my review of MLB the Show 26. So, I played this game on PS5, and I've put about 100 hours in so far, and I've played all the main modes. I haven't played storyline modes, that's the only one I haven't really played yet. I did get a look at it though, and I watched the intro, so I have played enough of this game, I think, to give you a good review of this game. So let's get started. So, with MLB The Show 26, it is a yearly release sports game. So, with these games, there's kind of two ways to judge a game. And number one, obviously, is just the overall quality of the game on its own by itself, not factoring in yearly the previous year releases. But obviously, the other way you can judge this game is by how much it's improved from the last game. So, overall, I do think it is a really good game. MLB The Show is always one of the best, if not the best, yearly release sports games. It's always really good quality, really good gameplay, and it has a lot of modes and a lot of different things you can do. But if you are judging it by how much different it is from the previous year, it doesn't do a whole lot different. There are a few things that, they've added and changed and whatnot, but, just speaking from what I've seen from others, not that I'm going to have that influence my own review, but a lot of other people are not happy. They're complaining, and I almost think it's not necessarily an indictment of the game itself, just a more of an indictment on yearly release sports games. And that's just the nature of it. And as for me, I do not like yearly release sports games. In the day and age where big AAA games take 5-6 years to develop, it's not really possible to develop a full game in 1 year. I mean, so really it's a roster update with just minor tweaks here and there. And that's always what's going to happen with the yearly release game, because that's all they can do. So I am fully against yearly release games, and I think they should stop doing it. I think you should go to biannual release, 2 or 3 or 4 years even, and just kind of have DLCs and roster updates. That would be a much better way to do it, and it would make the game so much better when they do release new games. But it is what it is. We have to judge it by what it is, and honestly, it is a really good game. Not much has changed from last year, but MLB The Show has always been a really good quality game, and it continues to be. So let's go into more of the specific things that you would judge a game by, and let's first talk about graphics, because looking online, watching videos, and before the release of the game, when they were releasing their trailers and everything, I just saw the comments, and everyone was complaining about the graphics, how they haven't changed. People say it's the same graphics from 2017. I'm gonna be honest with you. If that is the one thing that they don't change, if they change everything else but don't change the graphics, I'm okay with that. I think graphics are the least important. That being said, I do have to agree that the graphics haven't changed since 2017 or whatever year it is, 10 years ago. It seems pretty much the same. Although, if those were graphics in 2017, those were really, really good graphics back then, because I don't think the graphics are all that bad. I mean, it's serviceable. I'm more interested in the gameplay and the modes and things, but, judging the graphics, I do think they could be better. They are getting stale. I don't think they're horrible, though. I think they still have better graphics than a lot of other games, just in general, not necessarily sports games. They are probably lagging behind, like NBA 2K and Madden by this point. But, I don't think they're that bad. I think people are overreacting. I think people should be more concerned about gameplay and game modes and things like that. But graphics are a part of the game. They are a thing to judge, and they could be better. They're pretty mediocre. I wouldn't say they're awful, though. Now let's talk about gameplay. Now, with MLB The Show, it's kind of hard to, add stuff to the gameplay because it's already pretty much fleshed out as far as I can tell or as far as I can think of. I don't know how much they could add to gameplay, but they did add a few things that actually make the gameplay a little bit easier in my opinion. They added some tweaks to like hitting where you can adjust where you start your PCI. So they did make it where you can start it anywhere in the strike zone instead of it just starting in the middle and just going straight back to the middle if you let go of the trigger or the analog stick. So I do like the little minor changes they've made to gameplay. It's like some quality of life things they've done. Because honestly, I don't know how much they could have added to gameplay. I'm sure they could have done some things that I can't think of. But I've always thought the gameplay was pretty solid. Hitting in the past, maybe it's just me, hitting in the past was so difficult. Maybe I'm just slow, maybe. Because, the ball's coming in. It's coming in quick. You got to react. This game's all about reaction when you're hitting. It's all about reaction. So to me, the hitting's got easier. It feels like they've slowed down the pitches. So the pitches come in slower because when I started playing 26, I was swinging early on everything because I was always used to the ball coming in so fast. So I feel like they slowed down the ball. Now, I should probably give context to the other MLB shows I've played. I did not play MLB The Show 25 at all. In fact, that was the first MLB The Show game I did not play in a long time. I played 24 and 23, and I believe 22 on Xbox on Game Pass, and I bought 21 on PS5. I don't remember before then, but those basically, I've played every MLB The Show except last year's version. So I'm not sure when they made the changes to the gameplay, to the hitting, or if they did it all, if I'm just like out of my mind. But it feels like the hitting's got a lot easier. It feels like they've added things to make hitting easier, or at least give you more options in hitting, more things to have under your control. They've added some things in pitching. They've added, what's it called, like a showtime thing. I don't know if that's what it's called. I forgot. But basically, you get a couple pitches per game where you can just slow down time and you can hit the exact spot. So they've added some different things to make gameplay more engaging. Overall, it's pretty much the same, but I've always thought the gameplay was good. So it is what it is. Now, lastly, I want to talk about the game modes because I think this is the most important part of the review. At least I think it is. And when it comes to MLB The Show, there are a shit ton of game modes, and I think that's awesome. When it comes to games like this, games in general, but especially like sports games, I want a lot of options, a lot of different things I could play. I want game modes, and there are a lot of game modes, and I haven't even played them all. Obviously, there's the three main ones. There's Franchise, Road to Show, Diamond Dynasty. There's Storylines, which is the one I haven't played. That one looks really cool. It's like, I guess it's kind of like flashback moments. You get to play moments out from like the Negro Leagues and stuff like that. So I think that's really cool, and I'm definitely going to jump into that at some point. But that is, that's what I want in sports games. I want game modes. I want like moments you could try out from iconic moments. What I really want is the 2011 World Series David Freese moment. Because obviously you see I'm a Cardinals fan, and they need stuff like that where you can live out World Series moments and things like that. But overall, I think the game modes are cool. Now let's start with the one I play the most, Franchise mode. This might be the least popular of all the modes. I'm not really sure. It seems like everyone likes Road to Show and Diamond Dynasty. But I love Franchise mode. I love like taking control as a GM. Setting up, I do everything, man. I go full in detail. I set the AA, the AAA lineups. I'm making roster moves. I'm putting people on the IL. I'm setting the AA lineups and calling people up from single A. I'm doing everything you can possibly do. I set everything to manual. The only thing I don't do is play the games. I simulate all the games, and sometimes I do player lock. So I'll play as a certain player for a game, but I never play a full game. But I love Franchise mode. I just love the how deep it goes. It's definitely the best franchise mode in all of sports gaming. It's not even close. This is by far one of the best things about MLB The Show. And they have added some stuff. They added the new free agent and trade mechanics. They added the trade mechanic this year, and they added the free agent one last year. And it's much more immersive now. It's way cooler. It's more realistic. It's now you can make trades. It's not just automatically going to accept it or decline it on the spot. You send out a trade offer, they think about it, they accept, decline, or counter it. I love that. It's really cool. That's one of the best things they've added in MLB The Show 26 by far, in my opinion. So I love franchise mode. I could talk about franchise mode all day, but I'm going to keep it short, but just know franchise mode to me is one of the best parts of the game. And now we'll talk about Road to the Show. And I also enjoy Road to the Show. I used to play Road to the Show a lot more in the past. I played, I don't know, one of like MLB 11 or something. I actually went to, I was like my age 34 season playing every single game. But recently haven't been playing as much Road to the Show in the recent MLB The Show games. But I'm trying to this time, and I really enjoy the College World Series. I think that's really cool. That's also one of the best things they've added in MLB 26. So I did that. I got through my College World Series. I did a full season of AA. For some reason, I didn't make it to AAA in my second season, even though I was raking at least the second half of AA season. So that was disappointing, but I'll make it to the MLB eventually. Road to the Show is cool. I like it. They didn't add a lot to it except for the College World Series, but I think that is a really cool add. So also Road to the Show is a positive. And now finally we'll talk about Diamond Dynasty. And now obviously Diamond Dynasty is like the, competitive mode, the ultimate team type thing, the one you'll see in Madden and FIFA. This is obviously the most controversial thing, I think, in MLB The Show, in sports gaming in general, because there's a lot of like pay to win aspects, and it's all about opening packs and getting cards and things like that. And this is kind of taken over sports gaming in general, and I really don't like it generally. However, in the case of MLB The Show 26 or MLB The Show in general, it's always been one of the better modes compared to other sports games. It does it a lot better than like Ultimate Team and Madden and FIFA and 2K and those other sports games. It's actually a lot more fun. There's actually a lot more different modes within the mode. a lot of more different things you can do. Competitive, single player. And it's fun to build like a fantasy team. And there's a lot of different ways to get cards and things like that. It's still, the nature of it, it has some pay-to-win aspects to it because you can buy stubs and then buy the best players. So I'll never like that aspect to it, but for what it is, it's not bad. And, it doesn't seem to have changed all that much from, previous years. So I'm not the biggest Diamond Dynasty guy. I've definitely put some time into it though, and it is fun creating a little roster. It's kind of like the multiplayer franchise mode in a sense. So, it's not bad. I can't say too many negative things about it. And I really can't say that much about it at all. It's not my favorite mode, but it is cool for what it is. Now, that being said, it's a lot of positive. I think the game is mostly good, it's mostly positive, and I don't really have a lot of negatives to it. The main negatives I could say is that it is a yearly release sports game, and there's only so much they can add on from the previous year. And I'm not gonna say you're wrong if you think it's trash and it's not better than the previous game and it's just a roster update. I'm not gonna disagree with you. And it's hard for me because it's not like I've played every single year. I didn't play last year, so I'm coming in a little fresh. I probably have a little bit more of a positive mindset compared to other people who play the game every year. Maybe I would suggest you stop buying the game every single year. Skip a year. I skipped a year. In fact, I haven't bought the game since MLB The Show 21. I've only been playing the other games because it was on Game Pass. So, yeah, it's hard to judge games like this because it's a yearly release game. So I think it is fair when you're coming up with a score to count that against it a little bit. You can judge the game by its own merits as a standalone game, but for a yearly release sports game, I think it's fair to, account for last year's game. Has it improved enough to make it worth $70 annually? Buy a new roster update for $70. Now, I don't think it's completely fair to just call it a roster update because it has added some things, and especially in a mode that I love, franchise mode, it added a really cool trade system. So I'm going to judge this game based off, as a standalone release, but I will consider, previous versions of the game. So overall, I'm going to give the score an 8. I could have given it an 8.5. I almost went down to a 7.5 if I would have accounted more for there being a game last year that came out. But I think the game deserves an 8. It's a really good, solid game. I can't say it did a lot to improve from last year, but it did a little bit. And if you're going to judge it on its own merits, it is a really good game. It's really quality. There's not a lot of bugs and weird glitches and things like that. It runs smooth. It runs solid. It's got a lot of game modes. You can have a lot of fun in MLB The Show 26. There's no doubt about that. But I'm not going to disagree with anyone who hates on it or complains about the game. I'm not going to disagree with you because I'm with you. I don't like yearly release sports games. But MLB The Show does it the best. There's no doubt about that. So, I had a lot of fun, put 100 hours in. MLB The Show 26 is a good, solid game. And there you go. That's my review. So, thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will be back soon with more videos. See ya.